So I'm going to read this 6G Waves magazine, which came out spring 2020, right now. And this is in the University of Oulu in Finland. And it's a 6G flagship wireless event. So you see University of Oulu there. So on behalf of the Scientific Advisory Board, welcome to the first edition of the 6G flagship magazine, 6G Waves. The 6G flagship is a bold attempt to shape the future of mobile communications. Framed around 2030, the flagship is exploring technical responses to the challenges and opportunities of evolving digital markets, a growing, aging global population, changing societal needs and other factors shaping our digital future. These are big concepts and the responses of 6G need to be ambitious. This magazine will help explore these issues and humanize the technologies being researched. This first edition helps frame the flagship and covers topics including vision statements, research areas, co-creators, innovators, and recent highlights. The world's first 6G wireless summit was held in Levi, Finland in March 2019, bringing together experts from around the world. The 29 event highlighted the technological advances of 5G, but also took the first steps at describing what next. The white paper from 6G Summit described the step change from the trajectory of 5G and the requirements of 6G. In its second year, the flagship continues to evolve, fostering collaboration, enabling world-leading research, and refining the vision of our future connected world. The technical papers from the second 6G Wireless Summit 2020 and the 2020 white papers will take us further, covering a greater range of topics and continuing to address major research and technology challenges. Welcome to the world of 6G. So that's Ian Opperman, Chair of the 6G Flagship Scientific Advisory Board, Chief Data Scientist, New South Wales Government. So I think there's 12 white papers in total, and they're going to be released April, which is now. So they're supposed to be ready. On behalf of the 6G Flagship Advisory Board, I have great joy to introduce to you this first issue of the 6G Waves magazine. I don't have joy, but they do, which highlights the visions and latest achievements of 6G Flagship. A lot of new technology and business models for 5G and beyond will be developed during the coming years in numerous research and development initiatives around the globe. Finland, as a neutral, agile and flexible society, offers an excellent innovation environment for future solutions. In this magazine, you will find out why Oulu is an ideal spot for creating the first functional 6G test network and trialling proof of concepts leading to 6G. Over the last 3 decades, Oulu, the home of Nokia Radio, has been the forerunner in new ICT technologies. We are looking forward to giving our best effort again, this time for 6G. The best results are achieved when open discussion takes place between professionals in an inspiring environment, leading to new initiatives and collaboration. The second 6G Wireless Summit will be organised in Levi, Finland, on 17th of March to 20th of March 2020. The nature of Lapland has been the source of many unique ideas which have made Finland what it is today. I hope that this inspiring environment will boost 6G research and steer global development efforts to a successful track. In the next issue of the biannual magazine, you'll be able to read the outcomes of the second 6G Wireless Summit and joint research efforts towards 6G. I wish you an inspiring reading experience. I don't doubt it for a second. So, nice little picture there. Isn't he a nice man? 6G Flagship. In brief, the Finnish 6G Flagship is a vigorous research and co-creation ecosystem for 5G adoption and 6G innovation, led by the University of Oulu and appointed by the Academy of Finland, a governmental funding agency for high-quality scientific research. The total budget for the 8-year flagship program is €251 million. The program is operated in collaboration with Aalto University, Business Oulu University of Applied Sciences, and VTT Technical Research Centre of Finland. Currently, 6G Flagship has 3 company co-creators: Keysight Technologies, Nokia, and Interdigital. We'll be going into Keysight Technologies at some point. As 5G enters its deployment phase, 6G Flagship supports global industry in the finalization of the 5G standard, especially through joint projects, trials and demonstrations. At the same time, 6G Flagship experts are already working on essential technology components and solutions needed for the 2030 wireless era, and seeking for major scientific breakthroughs in the interrelated domains of wireless connectivity, device and circuit technologies as well, distributed intelligent computing, and novel applications and services. With this approach, 6G Flagship envisions a future society which is data-driven and enabled by near-instant, unlimited wireless connectivity. 6G Flagship invites a variety of stakeholders to join the 6G Flagship ecosystem. I love how they call it ecosystem. And to collaborate in ambitious research initiatives towards 6G, which aim at creating new business opportunities as well as responding to United Nations Sustainable Development Goals and major societal challenges. So there, right there in red, I've highlighted responding to United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. So you see who's behind it. Let's set our minds free. 6G research is gaining momentum all around the world now that 5G, NR, and its evolution path has become quite obvious. WRC 19, which was, I've put a note here, open. Oh, that's annoying. World Radio Communication Conference did not yet offer a significant spectrum regulatory booster towards 6G, but that is exactly why 6G research will experience a Klondike gold rush during the next few years. No boundaries have yet been set for 6G requirements, and therefore we have to set our minds free. No limits, guys. Of course, researchers would need some funding to grease the wheels, and several governments have already started building national 6G programs. In Finland, we started already in May 2018. We felt that one of the first things to do is set up an international forum for the growing 6G research community, where all researchers from any part of the world can get together to define fundamental requirements and key drivers towards 6G. In the middle of the trade war between US and China, this is utterly important. As a result, 6G Wireless Summit was born. We in 6G Flagship have taken a very ambitious path via open white paper expert groups which aim at defining critical research questions related to some of the key areas of 6G. Moreover, we have felt that our community must take United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, UN SDGs, seriously, and we should define key performance indicators, KPIs, aiming at reaching the UN goals. Not an easy task by any means. This work has given rise to several serious questions on how to enable global coverage in an affordable manner to those who are currently unconnected. This is a question related to several issues of economic, political, regulatory business, as well as technical challenges. Data security and privacy are also growing concerns, together with ethical questions. There's no mention of health in there whatsoever. So 6G most definitely deals with many other issues besides wireless connectivity challenges. It's never about the health, guys. Never. You never see that in there. Another interesting, although obvious, venue towards 6G is responding to the ever-increasing demand for broadband wireless connectivity. An evident trend towards millimeter waves and even beyond will change RAN technologies quite dramatically. RAN is radio access network. Very accurate beamforming and physics of radio wave propagation will transform the way networks operating at high frequencies should be designed. Super efficient short-range connectivity solutions are needed to offer terabytes per second speeds, mainly indoor as well as inside vehicles. Nice. Let's have a look at that. In machine-type communications, the uplink capacity needs to be boosted with more limited transmitter capabilities compared to downlink direction. Most of the radiation comes from uplink, by the way. Again, a great challenge to be looked at, as well as many other transceiver implementation-related research topics. After all, 5G has already shown needs to improve transceiver energy efficiency dramatically. A great promise of 5G has been a dramatic increase in different verticals. We may think of designing, optimizing, and even operating future mobile systems or parts of them by better understanding different key verticals through questions such as: what is a typical radio propagation environment? What are the capacity requirements? How about reliability and latency constraints? Energy and cost restraints? Network operation and ownership principles? What about spectrum availability? And so forth, that should say. Thus, verticals must be driving some of the development efforts of future wireless systems. Otherwise, the current one-solution-fits-all approach will continue leading to rather inefficient solutions. Our flagship program is based in Oulu. Finland is looking at all of these challenges and many more in a vivid international research community of more than 300 researchers from more than 50 countries. So that's not many, actually. We are constantly looking for new collaboration opportunities. They need more people. Offering visitor positions as well as recruiting new staff members. They need more people to cover the most relevant and demanding areas of 6G development. We will keep you posted on our work via this biannual 6G Waves magazine. Enjoy reading. We will, Matti Latva-aho, director of 6G Flagship. Got a lovely night sky there. Just imagine that, crammed with satellites, and in the background there, tons of towers shooting beam-forming 6G waves. Isn't that going to look beautiful? 287 participants from 28 different countries, spanning all inhabited continents, took part in the very first 6G Wireless Summit at the top of Levi Ski Resort in beautiful Lapland. The setting for such an event was very fitting, as the aim for the conference, and indeed 6G research, is to keep reaching even higher. At the summit, the participants were asked to project themselves into the world in 2030. As Professor Matti Latvaho, Director of 6G Flagship at the University of Oulu and the driving force behind the vision of Global 6G, puts it, the vision for 2030 is that our society is data-driven, enabled by near-instant, unlimited connectivity. We will be facing a growing and aging population, that's twice they've said that, aging, demands for increased productivity and the need to connect the billions who are not currently connected. We challenged all of the conference attendants, pressing them to consider this future world beyond 5G and the most essential aspects of 6G research, a decade in advance. It's always working with the UN 2030. in lockstep with it. Network with a sixth sense. Peter Vetter, head of the access research at Nokia Bell Labs and Bell Labs Fellow, says that in the future, the network needs to be thought of as a platform that creates network instances for specific environments. I like to call 6G a network with a sixth sense. This means enhancing our ability to think with augmented intelligence, enhancing our sensing capabilities, deduce meaning, making predictions with artificial intelligence. In short, enhancing our human existence, to connect the actions in the world beyond human capabilities. You need a nervous system, and the next generation network will be the nervous system that connects all of these, Vetter says. And the timeline? 6G is still 10 years and longer out. I think that this is a consensus among the 6G summit participants. However, they will work tirelessly behind the scenes to make it happen faster. However, it is time to start the research right now, because it takes 10 to 20 years before a new innovation sees a commercial launch, he says. New paradigm calls for fundamental research. For wireless revolution to happen, there needs to be a revolutionary communication technology, a revolutionary application of that technology, and a whole ecosystem for continued innovation, says Dr. Wen Tong, head of wireless research and head of communications technologies laboratories at Huawei. Wireless as a field has plenty of room for innovation. We need a young generation of researchers and an environment that will sustain continued innovation. The problem is not a lack of visionary imagination, it's that we don't have a concrete theoretical path to get to the realization of that vision. And for that, we need fundamental research that doesn't focus just on the very near-term solutions, Tong says. We need to address both the problems for the real world and the dreams for the future, says Takehiro Nakamura, SVP and General Manager of the 5G laboratories in NTT Docomo. There will be new combinations of extreme requirements for specific use cases. We need to provide extreme high reliability for a guaranteed quality of service for industry. Peak data rates of over 100 gigabytes per second, gigabyte rate coverage everywhere. And to have everything run at extreme low energy consumption and cost. Nakamura says, as Nakamura sees it, the future will have high quality, real-time VR and AR. That's virtual reality and augmented reality. Massive IoT for anything and anywhere, like satellites in space. Broadband for flying mobility, which will need high coverage and high reliability. 6G is more than increased data rate. Could I say that? Kai Bai Kibi, President of China Telecom Technology Innovation Center and CTO of China Telecom Research Institute, says he thinks that 6G could be a turning point and a real revolution from 5G, also in other terms besides technological. So far we've been concerned with the data rate, and while it is important, we need to pay attention to more than just the data rate. ISPs complain that incomes are staying flat and have been saturated. Well, if we turn to personalized services and build intelligent 6G networks that can think and perceive specialized needs automatically, we will find that we really are at a turning point. What about AI? Some of the hot topics in 5G and in 6G are machine learning and artificial intelligence. Magnus Frode, head of Ericsson Research, is a big believer in the coming 5G evolution. Note that 5G is an evolution and 6G is a revolution. AI that is embedded in the network and can work on real-time data is going to be a key factor. Connectivity, the ability to collect more data, edge computing, closed-loop control systems. All of these will bring us to the next world. Computational needs in the device will grow, but the battery and energy consumption will be a limiting factor. There will be a strong value to offloading computing from the device, Frode says. As networks are Ericsson's strong point, Frode says it will be very interesting to see what distributed AI is going to bring to the game. Getting ready for a new socio-economic reality. Bernard Barani, Deputy Head of Unit in the Connect Directorate of the European Commission, looks at next generation development and research as a chance to consolidate the industry. Europe has an edge, and we want to keep it. In the future, we need to take a more integrated perspective with regards to IoT, cloud and services. We will try to develop a model where we support not only research, but connectivity, services and so on, integrating everything in continuation to the 5G story. Isn't it romantic? Even if it's not easy to foresee, this 6G puzzle is very important for us to get an understanding of what the industry is considered to be promising avenues in the future. The questions we ask are: how do we justify investments in the technology? What are the socio-economic implications? What shape will networks take in the future? And so on. Again, nothing about implementing safe technology. One of the concrete outcomes of the summit was the 6G white paper, which describes the goals of 6G. I'll be reading that. The use cases anticipated in 2030 and the associated technical requirements. The paper provides a focus for the major research challenges and helps in setting up the research agenda for the new decade. It is available at 6gflagship.com/6G white paper. So I recommend you download it and sift through, have a look, see what they're talking about. Again, a lovely, picturesque night sky with all these lovely aura colours coming from the light. Probably going to be destroyed with all the radiation blanketing the planet in 5G, 6G. From all these satellites, thousands of satellites. Absolutely ridiculous. The challenging task of predicting the future. 6G Flagship published world's first comprehensive review of 6G research topics in September under the title Key Drivers and Research Challenges for 6G Ubiquitous Wireless Intelligence. The goal was to ignite discussion on 6G research goals in the global scale. So you have to get it in your head that these guys want wireless everywhere. Every single little nook and cranny of the world, the planet. Oh, under that tree? Yeah, we've got to get it under there. Under the ground, in the sea, everywhere. That's what they mean, ubiquitous, properly. We wanted to bring experts together to brainstorm 6G research directions, so we organised a white paper workshop in Levi, Finland in March 2019, and the results were documented in the white paper, says Professor Matti Latvaho, co-editor of the publication. Based on the visibility it received in example technology news services, we judged that the white paper was a success and the time was right. The content of the publication was collected from 70 workshop participants, but editing was done in a fairly small circle of chapter editors. A commenting round allowed the workshop participants to influence the final white paper contents. We tried to polish our crystal ball, but did not completely succeed, says Professor Kari Leppänen, co-editor of the white paper. Seriously speaking, predicting the future 10 years ahead with any level of detail is always challenging, if not impossible. Leppänen also recognizes that the first white paper represents mainly the views of the traditional telecom sector, and a more versatile group of experts might have produced more insightful predictions. That's good, isn't it? Nevertheless, the white paper represents a strong vision of ubiquitous wireless intelligence for 2030. I mean, that's got to be the next thing I read out, this white paper. It portrays how ubiquitous services will follow users seamlessly everywhere, and wireless connectivity will be part of the critical infrastructure. Furthermore, intelligence will create context-aware smart services and applications for human and non-human users alike. The paper also illustrates a major difference with previous Gs. In addition to the communication service, 6G will include many other services. In our view, integration of new services such as sensing, imaging, and highly accurate positioning with mobility opens a myriad of new applications in 6G. It's all roses. Most research questions introduced in the publication are quite technical and targeted to experts in specific fields, but several questions are human-centric and carry societal importance. They are just as important for making 6G a success. These questions include the following. What are the key societal requirements for 6G? Here we go again. How to assess and quantify the metrics towards UN SDG KPIs. That's Key Performance Indicators, United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. They're talking about the UN 2030 and how they're going to come into lockstep with those and enable them. What novel opportunities can next generation networks and devices offer to interaction between people? What are proper metrics for data privacy and security? We encourage the experts to check the research questions. Finding answers to them will enable major steps towards future wireless systems. Leppanen concludes his observations of the writing process with a wide smile. We did succeed in opening the public discussion on 6G. By the end of February 2020, the online version of the white paper has been downloaded 100,403 times. Ooh, that's not very many. Expert groups as a catalyst for global 6G research. Encouraged by the results of the first white paper and building on experiences from the earlier writing process, 12 senior experts from 6G Flagship accepted the challenge to go much deeper into novel terrain as leaders of new expert groups. We wanted to add more openness and invite more people to join the work, says Professor Matti Latvaho, who leads the preparation of the 12 new white papers. There we go. There's 12 new ones. And one old one that's generic that they're talking about. I say old, it's done in the last 6 months. As a result, we had an open call in December for joining the expert groups and now have 330 people signed up. All topics which are introduced below, with the photos of the expert group leaders, have their roots in the previous white paper. Talons. One expert group works on the linkage between 6G and the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals again. So one expert group is really going to focus on that. And another focuses on connectivity for remote areas. Both groups reflect major societal challenges. One expert group develops business scenarios for 6G. When they say societal challenges, what they actually mean is the UN wants the society to go a certain way, and we're going to help them. One expert group develops business scenarios for 6G. The remaining groups are more technical and cover validation and trials, broadband connectivity, networking, machine learning, RF and spectrum, edge intelligence, security and privacy, critical and massive machine type communications, and localization and sensing. Each of the expert groups has around 40 international participants working together through online meetings and contributing to the white paper preparation via questionnaires, among other. The expert groups have freedom in defining their approaches and outputs, but the common goal is to depict the future research challenges to be solved and to provide a catalyst for 6G research, says Dr. Marja Martin-Miko-Blue, who coordinates the writing process of the white papers. The groups are writing the white papers under a tight schedule from January to April 2020. There we go. So they've got to be done right about now. It's the end of April 28th. But this is just the starting point, she points out. Collaborations around many of the topics will continue long after the white papers are published. So there's the guys. There they are. Okay. Do that, you can have a proper look at these guys. Trials for verticals. Edge intelligence. She looks pretty edge, actually. Connectivity from remote areas. Yeah, well, a lot of people in remote areas don't want that connectivity. I think you want it more than anything else. More than they want it, definitely. That's why you live in remote areas. You've chosen to live there. We need to have a critical look at what still needs to be done after the success of 4G and the great potential promised by 5G. There is an ever-increasing need for capacity increase towards terabytes per second. I mean, 1080p just doesn't cut it, folks. Even 4K. We need 4K everywhere. And transmitted in less than a second. Otherwise it's not good enough. Super efficient, short-range connectivity is one key direction for our research. So you just love it. Lead of the strategic research area on wireless connectivity. Recently the team has developed a visible light communication. I should have highlighted that one. To demonstrate capabilities of VLC for future systems. And this is important because light and frequency have been used, you know, the flicker in your screens. It's been proven to have effects on you, desired effects actually. But you can use as a weapon in your own screen, a flicker rate on the TV. Believe it, because it's true. In collaboration with our RF team, we are also creating a mobile broadband communication system for 100 to 300 GHz frequency range. As a part of the concept, positioning at the accuracy of better than 10 centimeters is being developed. Another important goal relates to remote area connectivity. Digital services must be made globally available also for remote areas and emerging economies. I wonder why. You'll make a lot more money, won't you? Often these do not require the latest and coolest technology, but a robust, energy-efficient solution for provisioning rudimentary services for daily lives. I can get on board with that. I don't mind a basic level, if that's what they're asking for, but don't tell me that there is a need to fill the entire planet with wireless radiation connectivity, because that's crap. As I said, if you live out in the countryside, you've chosen to live there for that reason. You might want some simple internet access, such as cabled Ethernet, fibre, that's absolutely fine. But you don't need everything smart all around them in all of the countryside. It's just going to ruin it. We see the UN SDGs as the critical driver for the future. Achieving them calls for radically new business models incentivized by local societies and governments to offer fundamental digital services. At the same time, network architectural solutions beyond MNO-driven full coverage cellular systems are needed. We have developed a micro-operator concept for serving different vertical needs as well as remote areas, isolated service clusters. The transformation calls for new spectrum regulatory principles as well as legislative changes, example related to data ownership. Great. Latva's team works actively with regulatory bodies to foster these new ideas. They don't work with health regulatory bodies, by the way. Just FCC and ICNIRP, of course, because that's 10 million thermal. Yeah. A third line of new research focuses on machine type of applications, which requires scalable solutions for URLLC. And URLLC is ultra-reliable, low-latency communications that do not exist with 5G. I thought that's what 5G was supposed to sort out. Ultra-reliable, low-latency, super fast, no dropping of the calls. That's what they were touting. So they're saying that does not exist with 5G. Are you confused? Recently, we started collaboration with Electronics and Telecommunications Research Institute, ETRI, South Korea, to jointly develop solutions for URLLC industrial use cases. Latvaho says, although our joint effort is supporting 5G NR evolution, our team is also focusing on beyond 5G solutions. How would one optimize URLLC solutions with different design criteria for different verticals? I believe there will no longer be one solution fits all problems. The wireless connectivity team has been particularly active in developing collaboration with various global players. We need new, strong players focusing on remote areas and emerging economies to drive the urgent need for connecting the unconnected. Yeah, I mean, all these people in the countryside, they're just crying out for this stuff. Why haven't we got it? It's your urgent need. You create the urgent need for this. From new user devices to demanding vertical applications. The interdisciplinary services and applications team at 6G Flagship derives its research targets primarily from vertical specific applications and services to create optimized technical solutions and network operating models for the 6G era. The team seeks solutions via rapid trialing using experimental 5G, 6G test networks to bring research findings to real-life tests in cooperation with businesses and society at large. That basically means creating test beds. 5G test beds, do you remember that? Yeah. Wait for the 6G test beds. Let's hope your city is a lucky one. The team has already successfully integrated 5G to electric locks, 4K 360-degree cameras, hyperspectral cameras and drones. Integrating wireless capability to our recently acquired smart car is ongoing, says Strategic Research Area Leader Professor Ari Putu. Another demonstrated futuristic area is AR/VR glasses, which allow the transmission of diverse, augmented sensor data along with 360-degree video. These allow us to interact with the real physical world in totally new ways, for instance in remote medicine, factory control or distance learning, to name a few. 6G Flagship's experts have also contributed to the creation of a digital twin of Ulu Harbour, in which measured sensor data can be displayed in an intuitive manner, and in the future the real-world environment can be affected from this digital twin. That's just brilliant. So they created a digital twin of an entire harbour. And they're saying the real world environment can be affected. That means will, from this digital twin. Amazing. We can see for the first time that 5G will truly become an integral part of verticals now. I hate the word verticals. That user devices other than mobile phones are starting to appear. Another research area raising high hopes, literally, are drones. Besides the entertainment, logistics and media usage, the drones equipped with state-of-the-art wireless are gaining ground in other vertical use cases too. Surveillance and situational awareness of factories, harbours, and example power lines, of course, are obvious use cases. However, use cases such as public protection and disaster relief are gaining popularity. Oh, are they? As pop-up networks can be established where networks have become non-functional. Furthermore, drones can be equipped with almost any sensoring payload accommodating environmental IoT in the sky. There's another highlighting moment, isn't it? Furthermore, the existing cellular networks can be augmented with base station in the sky areas, in areas of sudden congestions. So, don't you love the idea of that, guys? Everyone? Cell towers in the sky. Is that what you want? By subscribing to all this wireless nonsense, that's what you're going to get. You're going to get flying cell towers in the sky. Aiming at increased sustainability. Don't like that word. In wireless itself, the team has also recently developed a concept for a carbon-neutral 5G base station. Carbon neutral, which uses sunlight and wind for energy production based on extremely accurate energy weather predictions. You can just generate the weather that you want now. We will demonstrate the concept later this year once the roofs of university campus buildings are free of snow. What a joker. Yet the work is only beginning. These types of application areas are nearly endless, Putu says. We are eager to scale up from medical and Industry 4 applications in which we have already plenty of promising results. The target verticals in the first phase of the 8-year flagship program include factories of the future, Industry 4, healthcare, automotive and transportation, and energy. Putu's team of experts look constantly for new collaboration possibilities for various use cases, especially in these verticals. However, do not feel discouraged if you have an idea outside these areas. We are always willing to try out new things, Putu says, pointing out to the truly diverse nature of the research and the open-minded approach of the team. They're basically saying, if you can imagine it, we're going to try and make it happen. In a sense, that's really fun. I like that, but it is really harmful. Look at this guy. He's got an antenna basically wrapped around his head on both sides of the temples. Probably using a wireless laptop with a whacking router in the corner in an enclosed space. I mean, that's seriously bad radiation. Building Biology, Austrian Medical Association, Bioinitiative, would all of those medical bodies would class this as extreme concern of radiation. FCC and ICNIRP say it's not thermal, so it's fine. I mean, who do you want to believe? 3 medical credible bodies or the industry drivers? Who are you going to believe? Just take the facts. Towards world's first functional 6G test network, 6G Flagship's devices and circuit technology team targets an end-to-end solution that would be the world's first functional 6G test network operating at frequencies well above current 5G and with significantly higher bandwidth for data throughput. The wide international experience and diverse backgrounds of the team are unique assets for the innovation of 6G transceivers, antennas, and related measurement systems. The operational setup will combine the ongoing work of several 6G flagship groups. University research is currently focused on 6G core system building blocks, including integrated amplifiers, mixers, etc., for millimeter wave sub-terahertz transceivers, antennas and digital signal processing algorithms, among others. Research like this requires combination of theoretical understanding and practical approach, says Professor Eino Persinen, Strategic Research Area Leader. Promises can be proved only by well-selected small and large-scale prototypes. Making even a single radio link for 6G network requires many different competencies of a multidisciplinary team. In addition to hard work, we must be patient to gradually move towards the big dream of the first 6G network that will be hopefully built from the elements of our own research as well as innovations of our research partners in academia and in industry. Recently, the team's RF measurement capability has increased substantially with the new vector signal analyzer, up to 110 GHz donated by Keysight Technologies, one of 6G Flagship's co-creators. Additionally, antenna measurement facility has been updated to 110 GHz and conducted RF measurement capability to 330 GHz for RF ASIC and other component measurements. The 330 GHz setup can also be used for radio channel measurements and other over-the-air testing. My meter can only go to 8 GHz. I think it's a few hundred meg to 8 gig. So it's pretty good equipment they got. The work is progressing fast from theory to practical prototypes and trials. The team has already shipped selected key RF blocks for manufacturing using SIGE semiconductor processes, as well as done integrated antenna designs in 300 GHz range. Measured results of those prototypes are a mandatory step towards more complex radio transceiver ICs for 6G test systems. The work is extremely challenging because the team operates in technology limits of RF ASIC processes. For this precise reason, the team has great expectations for the first circuit measurements that will take place at the latest in summer. When you are working in the limits of technology, the work is inspiring but also extremely demanding, and the border between success and failure is not easy to define, Persinen says. But in research, we must take risks and jump to unknown. If you always do what you have done, you will always get what you know already. That's not the right attitude to learn and find the future possibilities. I can agree with that. Yet the focus always also remains on the big picture as the team explores the interplay between transceiver architectures, protocols, latency and bandwidth, seeking reliable communications through parallel studies from the fundamental paradigms of wireless to hardware that is often supported by software. Other crucial components are adjustable nanomaterials and 3D structures that enable characteristics for specific applications with ultra-low permittivity and adjustable structural features. Seeing the future is not easy, and building it is even more demanding, Persinen concludes. We need both the vision and a lot of hard work in research to see what are the opportunities and right technologies for radios in forthcoming 6G networks. Okay, moving on. Harnessing artificial intelligence for 6G applications. 6G Flagship's experts on distributed computing harness artificial intelligence to build intelligent applications for future wireless networks. The three key technology components developed are distributed AI, edge-native application platforms, and advanced network security. Our team focuses on distributed computing and artificial intelligence that will bring intelligence from centralized cloud services closer to end users and applications, says Strategic Research Area Leader Professor Yuka Rieki. The true challenge is how to efficiently distribute data and the learning, data analytics, and decision-making processes across network elements and locations, while fulfilling the heterogeneous service and latency requirements as well as resource limitations. Requirements from augmented reality, AR, and virtual reality, VR, over wireless are considered in current research as these technologies are becoming major application drivers for various verticals, including health and entertainment. Other important drivers are autonomous vehicles and Industry 4.0, that is. These application domains feature large data sets and heavy computation with real-time or near real-time responsivity. A combination requiring distributed solutions and AI to achieve the targeted performance. The team's focus is on enabling intelligent devices and machines to sense, perceive, communicate and control their environment, taking into account both the required performance and resource constraints. This fundamental research area requires multidisciplinary expertise in communication, machine learning, control theory, and adjacent disciplines. Although augmenting human decision processes has significant potential in the long run, developing the basis for autonomous decision-making will be crucial for optimizing the network performance and marshalling the billions of devices expected to be interacting in the 6G era. Yes, billions, Riki says. The team's target is to provide methods for bringing together the stray pieces of information distilled in all those devices, unreachable with current centralized solutions. In the field of distributed AI, the team explores learning, data analytics, and decision-making. Research on federated AI develops methods for learning from heterogeneous datasets. This research has generated new knowledge on theoretical and algorithmic aspects of distributed machine learning over wireless with applications on vehicular communication and UAV control, for example. The researchers have also proposed a novel learning technique called federated distillation that outperforms Google's federated learning. I don't know what federated distillation is, so we'll have to check that out at some point. The team also studies edge-native application platforms to run the distributed AI algorithms at access points, user terminals and other devices with limited computational capabilities, while providing load balancing and robustness in case of device and link failures. Current efforts concentrate on decentralized application architectures and on the optimal distribution of computational resources for those platforms, Riki says. Recent results include a microservices-based architecture for edge computing, a method for calculating optimal placement for edge servers, and a novel edge architecture for decreasing the delays of AR applications. Security, trust, and ethical data management, nice word, are of paramount importance for the critical network services of the future. The new wave of network softwareization, that is to say, edge computing, network slicing, network function virtualization, and software-defined networking introduce benefits such as reduced data and controlled traffic, and improved programmability, but also require novel security solutions. The team tackles these challenges with novel architectures, with secure key management and resource allocation algorithms. Their simulation and formal verification and test beds for real network testing and prototyping. Recent results include a secure keying scheme for network slicing, blockchain-based automated certificate revocation for IoT, an authentication scheme for gadget-free healthcare environments. So apparently these are some of the highlights from the 6G flagship event. World's first open 5G cybersecurity hackathon was a success. Top hackers from all over the world gathered at the University of Oulu in early December to compete in world's first open 5G cybersecurity hackathon. The northern city of Oulu, known as Global 5G and 6G hotspot, showed its gravity in research and development of top-tier cybersecurity. The hackathon gathered 70 cybersecurity specialists from 15 different countries who showed their skills in challenges set by Ericsson, Nokia, and 6G flagship program, which included improving the cybersecurity in 5G infrastructure and ensuring the information security in digital services used over 5G. The main organizer of the hackathon was the National Cybersecurity Centre Finland from Finnish Transport and Communications Agency Traficom. Moving on, autonomous test car drives, 5G, 6G, research efforts. Experts at the Faculty of Information Technology and Electrical Engineering, that's ITEE, University of Oulu, recently acquired a Toyota self-driving car to be widely used in 6G flagship program. The car will serve multiple purposes as a research platform where 5G, 6G experts can trial their own setups both individually and jointly. In fact, all 12 research units at ITEE can take advantage of the car from their own point of view, says Professor Jukka Riiki, Dean of the Faculty of Information Technology and Electronic Engineering. For many units, the car is a solution, allowing them to test things in real environment. It will also be important to connect the car to the 5G test network administered by the university, which can also be used to explore communication and cooperation between cars. So obviously had one car between 12 groups of people to play with. University of Oulu formalized its collaboration with the South Korean Electronics and Telecommunications Research Institute, ETRI, in June with the signing of a Memorandum of Understanding. The agreement focuses on collaboration in 5G and 6G mobile communications. The memorandum was signed by Dr. Hyun Kim, Vice President of Hyperconnected Communication Research Laboratory at ETRI, and Dr. Yuku Ninamaki, Rector of the University of Oulu. ETI is leading research institute employing 2,000 researchers, funded by the South Korean government. The institute has been ranked top in the US evaluation of patents for many years. ETRI has also many world firsts under its belt, such as the first commercialization of CDMA in 1995, that's a modulation, and the first 4G LTE LTA mobile system in 2010. Synergies between the two organisations are strong, as laid out by Academy Professor Matti Latvarho in the 2030s. We all live in a society that is data-driven, enabled by near-instant and unlimited connectivity. We are now developing fundamental technology that will be needed 20 to 30 years from now, he said. The next step will be to develop 6G enablers. ETRI's vision for mobile communications beyond 5G, on the other hand, include ultra-reliable low-latency communication, terabyte per second peak data rates, hyper-precision, AI-based intelligent networks, which are all important, and shared goals among the 6G community. A new partnership was launched with Wipro, a leading global information technology, consulting and business process services company. The two organizations signed a Memorandum of Understanding in November to collaborate in the areas of wireless communications in 5G, 6G at gigahertz, terahertz and lightwave frequencies under the university's 6G flagship program. The Memorandum of Understanding was signed at the YPRO headquarters in Bangalore, India, in the presence of key delegates from the Finland's Ministry of Economic Affairs and Employment, Finnish business corporations, University of Oulu, Business Finland, and YPRO executives. Speaking about the MOU, Memorandum of Understanding, Timo Harakka, Minister of Employment, Finland's Ministry of Economic Affairs and Employment, said, "The new research partnership between YPRO and University of Oulu regarding 5G and 6G will boost innovation and is an excellent start for the mutually beneficial cooperation between Finland and YPRO. This will also take the Innovation Corridor partnership between Finland and state of Karnataka to the next level." Next we have great turnout in ISWCS. 6G Flagship organised the 16th International Symposium on Wireless Communication Systems, that's ISWCS 19, in August with Professor Matti Latvaho. He's quite busy, isn't he, that chap? And Assistant Professor Hurley Alves as general chairs. The event attracted more than 250 participants, and there was a strong presence of local and international telecommunications industry and industrial verticals such as automotive and satellite. The chairs were able to build a strong technical program by hand-picking well-known keynote, invited and panel speakers who added value by bringing in novel and disruptive ideas, leading to lively discussion. The event helped in disseminating disruptive thinking with respect to research directions towards 6G. Alves concludes, "It was gratifying to see participants enjoying the program and their satisfaction with such high quality and timely content." I do have the document for that. We'll be reading it at some point. Right then, awards. The ETRI Journal 2019 Best Paper Award for RF Research Team. Marco E. Loinen, Giuseppe Destino, Olli Kursu, Marco Sonki, and Arno Perssonen received the ETRI Journal 2019 Best Paper Award for their article 28 GHz Wireless Backhaul Transceiver Characterization and Radio Link Budget, published in the Electronics and Telecommunications Research Institute Journal. That's the ETRI. 28 GHz Wireless Backhaul Transceiver Characterization. That's a fun paper, isn't it? 6G Flagship's RF researchers developed a transmitter receiver with antenna arrays that can cope with the high-speed requirements for 5G mobile communications. In this work, the focus is on the design and validation of a radio frequency transceiver operating in the frequency band of 27.5 GHz to 28.5 GHz. That's quite a narrow, there's only 1 gig between them. Describes the ETRI Journal news story about the awarded article. This band represents a frequency band partially endorsed in common by the European, Korean, US and Japanese frequency spectrum authorities, and it is the specification for the 5G trials at the Winter Olympics in Korea. From a design perspective, the proposed RF implementation can be considered one of the first complete solutions capable of achieving millimeter wave urban backhaul requirements. So you can read more if you like. https www.ulu.fi, I think, /6G flagship /ETRI best paper award 2019. But I've highlighted that because that's going to stick in my mind. This 27.5 to 28.5. It's won an award. It's classed as 28 gigahertz, but it's got a 1 gigahertz bandwidth frequency band, and it's going to be used for the Winter Olympics in Korea. So we'll be keeping our eye out onto what happens there. Next we have Professor Markku Juntti elevated to IEEE Fellow. Markku Juntti, Professor of Communications Engineering, has been elevated to the grade of an IEEE Fellow. he received the recognition for contributions to multi-user and multi-antenna communications. He has focused especially on multi-antenna and multi-user communications technology and related signal processing with applications in 3G, 4G and 5G systems. Unity has contributed to the design of efficient receiver algorithms, architectures and implementations for multiple input, multiple output MIMO systems. A significant part of his work has focused on transceiver and system optimization in multi-user MIMO systems. His current research interests include millimeter wave and terahertz band communications and related signal processing in 6G Flagship program. So you can check that out as well from the Ulu University /news/Marku Unity 6G. So it says multiple inputs, multiple outputs. That's MIMO, also known as massive in, massive out. Massive and multiple seem interchangeable there. And those poles that you see like a pole with a bit of a thickness at the top, those are the 5G MIMOs. So there's been an award for the 28 gig and there's been an award for the MIMO receiver algorithms, architectures and implementation. So multiple awards to Professor Heli Jantunen. Heli Jantunen, I don't know how to say his names. Professor in Technical Physics and Head of Microelectronics Research Unit at the University of Oulu, was the winner of the Finnish Science Award 2019, which is granted every second year to a Finland-based researcher or research group in recognition of significant scientific achievement. Ministry of Education and Culture grants the award based on a proposal by the Academy of Finland. Jantunen is the first expert globally to introduce the possibility of making co-fired electroceramics in ultra-low temperatures. Our research team is developing new kinds of materials for electronics applications, Jantunen says. They will appear even as radical applications. Manufacturing the materials must take as little energy as possible, and they must be environmentally friendly. Hold on a second. My mouse decides to stop working, so I have a cabled one from looks like it's from the 90s, but it works just fine. So I'm going to highlight electroceramics when I find it again. There we go. Co-fired electroceramics in ultra-low temperatures. I'll have to check that out later. The next generation multi-purpose electroceramics are expected to be a global breakthrough in the field of electroceramics. They will enable the use of lower production temperatures, new materials and 3D printing in the production of electroceramics, and are also suitable for telecommunications, technology and sensors. That's worth highlighting as well. Jantunen also won the Finnish Parliament's Innovation Award 2019 and the Nokia Foundation Recognition Award 2018. Nokia Foundation's award announcement praised Professor Jantunen's research, which spans over multitude of domains of industrial significance, ranging from high-frequency applications, energy harvesters, sensors, multifunctional micromodules, to modern manufacturing methods like printed electronics. So there's some links there for you to read more. Next one, IEEE ComSoc RCC Award to Mehdi Benes. Associate Professor Mehdi Benes received the prestigious 2019 IEEE ComSoc RCC Early Achievement Award for contribution to radio communication. The award, bestowed by the IEEE Communication Society Radio Communication Technical Committee, awards my contributions to the field of radio communication, and more specifically in the area of self-organizing heterogeneous networks. ultra-reliable low-latency 'communication, and distributed machine learning, which constitute 3 key pillars of the 6G flagship led by the University of Oulu. So when people ask you what 6G is about, this is what you say. You'd identify the pillars. Self-organizing heterogeneous networks. Not quite sure what that means. Ultra-reliable low-latency communication. That's their terabytes per second real-time thing. And distributed machine learning. Well, I'm sure we'll find out more about that. There are several essential research topics ongoing that Bennis is concentrating on with his colleagues as part of the 6G flagship program. How to enable intelligent devices to sense, perceive, communicate and control their environment, taking into account resource constraints, battery, energy power, latency, delay, reliability, bandwidth and privacy, Bennis describes. This is one of the most fundamental research areas in beyond 5G and 6G, which requires an expertise in communication, machine learning, control theory, and adjacent principles. My group, ICON, is one of the leading groups in these topics. So let's check out ICON at some point. This is how you do the research, guys. You have to read through the papers. Every single acronym, you've got to check them out. Every single link, you have to check it out. Every reference to a paper, you have to read the paper. That's how you understand it all. I'm not saying I understand it all yet, but the more, as I get through this journey, then I'll have a very good understanding. So other best papers were the Best Student Paper Award, Achieving Ultra-Reliable Communication via CRAN-Enabled Diversity Schemes. Don't know what that is, so let's highlight that. URSI Young Scientist 2019 Award from Paper and Presentation towards over-the-air characterized transmitter array non-linearity. Non-linearity. Why are these words so hard to say? This one I've highlighted. A differentially fed dual-band polarized stacked ring patch antenna. What is that? A differentially fed dual-band, dual-polarized stacked ring patch antenna for 5G millimeter wave communications. All of this is to come. Another student paper, Bronze, a method for ice thickness characterization using GNSS C/N0 data. And then we have Best Overall VTC 2019 full paper, Industrial Indoor Measurements from 2 to 6 gigahertz. Now this is interesting because this is going to impact everyone's lives. It's going to be indoor measurements using 2 to 6 gigahertz bandwidth. Let's hope the power is low, right? 3GPP, NR, and quadriga channel model. So I've highlighted that. I mean, that's what interests me the most. This differentially fed dual-band, dual-polarized stacked ring patch antenna, and how they're going to, and this channel model, the quadriga, for the 2 to 6 gigahertz inside. Lovely little picture of a drone there, with the very friendly cell towers behind. Don't you love that? Okay. 5G, 6G test network, the nexus of a 6G flagship. The nexus of 6G flagship program is the rapidly evolving Open 5G test network, which first introduced its advanced network functions to researchers and developers in 2015. As a focal point of connectivity, it simultaneously links testbeds, novel devices and applications. theory and practice, as well as research and business. Bolstering 6G Flagship's research vision, the test network combines the development of future wireless technologies with new business models and new regulatory propositions, and thus enables the creation of completely new application and service concepts based on them. The 5GTN, which is test network team led by Professor Ari Putu, operates the network, which is built on major cellular network components provided by 6G Flagship's co-creator Nokia. I didn't know that, so let's highlight that. And manages the more than 1,000 dedicated SIM cards, 2,500 sensors, one of the world's largest indoor positioning systems, computation resources, and state-of-the-art measurement equipment that are available for trials, demonstrations, and training free of charge. Of course it's free. Unique in its diversity and structure, 5GTN provides access to multiple interfaces in advanced radio access networks, cloud-based virtualized core network controlled by SDN technology, and related service core network for applications. It offers several parallel 3GPP RAN technologies, including NB-IoT, LTE-M, 4G-LTE, macros and picos, 5G NR macros, as well as 5G proof of concept POC on millimeter waves 26 to 28 gigahertz. Wow, that's a lot of acronyms there. Let's highlight those, shall we? In red. Recently, the architecture was complemented by 300 gigahertz radios supporting IEEE 802.15.3D. Also, non-3GPP RANs, including Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and LoRa, are integrated in the platform. Oh dear. Open air interface, capable devices, and core networks are also integral parts of 5GTN. At the same time, in addition to normal smartphones, IoT sensors, pre-commercial non-phone-centric and user-end devices, as well as a data storage and network devices are available, as well as support for processing needs arising from vertical businesses, especially related to mobile edge computing, IoT services, and sensor management. Open air interface. I'll highlight that. As a research platform, 5GTN is especially suitable for research on verticals. I'm so bored of the word verticals, which will be driving the way future wireless networks are developing both from technical and application characteristics perspectives. We emphasize piloting and testing in various verticals, Putu says. Our current focus areas are industry and manufacturing, port and logistics, as well as hospitals and health. We are also extending our capabilities in automotive and traffic, which are gaining increasing interest in the research community. What do you mean, like smart motorways? Shutting down the hard shoulder? Yeah, that's really clever. Currently, we are making our smart car 5G and beyond enabled, and we plan to demonstrate connecting autonomous driving with tests expected on border crossings between Finland and Sweden. The team also integrates promising new technology components to 5G test network, including, for example, LiDAR-based asset tracking and drone-based new services, here we go, to increase flexibility. LiDAR isn't good news, by the way. The latest hardware acquisitions, on the other hand, support 5GTN's cloud-based radio architectural research, multi-mode radio interface integration and radio positioning, both indoor and outdoor, as well as full 5G standalone core, which boosts 5G test network as an ideal open environment for testing end-to-end systems. We would like to offer our research partners globally a flexible environment for international test cases, covering use cases that are also global. They talk a load of crap, don't they? For companies, 5GTN is an easily accessible integration framework where they can build and test technological and service-related solutions and increase their expertise in developing, modeling, and validating new concepts. The platform boosts research for challenging concepts never thought before and lowers the threshold and cost of innovation. Especially startups and SMEs benefit of the zero-cost option. If a user requires additional assistance or expert support to conduct experiments, compensation is considered on a case-by-case basis. Naturally, the platform also constitutes an excellent platform for any Horizon Europe collaboration. 5GTN offers a controlled environment for companies' service development. It feels like they're repeating themselves. We can use slicing or sandboxing to isolate experiments from each other. What is slicing and sandboxing? Partners can run sensitive software also from their own computing resources that are connected to the wireless test platform over a VPN. Data from the experiments is handled confidentially if requested. So VPN is a virtual private network. It randomizes the IP. The roadmap for developing 5GTN towards 6GTN was defined in 2018, and development has begun with full speed, thanks to public infrastructure funding and collaboration with leading industry. Yeah, so you pay for this, guys. We're paying for it. The roadmap includes several critical steps, Putu confirms, starting with the introduction of 6G flavoured terahertz proof of concept devices into the network. So they're wanting terahertz, right? So gigahertz isn't enough. It's got to be terahertz. Full use of virtualization and cloud technology are included in the near future targets of the upcoming 6G test network. As a result, the network becomes extra secure and elastic with QoS and scalable resource pools. These business terms, scalable, for services designed to allow high availability, high bandwidth and low latency for services. This kind of capability is of critical importance when a test environment is built that can address the requirements stemming from different vertical needs, Putu says. Slicing with dynamic resource allocation will be possible according to use, which requires intensive research and a solid infrastructure for algorithm validation to ensure network performance in all scenarios. To address the fact that different vertical industries may have considerable differences in their working environments, it may be worthwhile to define testing environments, golden references, which are specific to a certain industry type. So the goal is to create a flexible and portable testing solution. With this approach, it becomes possible to evaluate new testing ranges regarding their compliance to the reference testing system, and by that the compliance to the given performance criteria can be evaluated by different neutral bodies. Only by taking this approach, the industry-required certification of 6G industrial components becomes possible, Putu states. And only with such a stiff certification will the technology be adopted inside critical environments. Currently, terahertz range solutions are already being tested in the test network. Future updates will expand the research of materials, devices, waveforms, signal processing, or distributed data-driven network control paradigms. Improved capabilities in the next few years will furthermore support research of future radio interface and RF assuming millimeter wave and terahertz high-capacity backhaul and fronthaul with MIMO antennas enabling adaptive beamforming. With the addition of 6G flavor capabilities, our test network will become an even more powerful nexus for our own innovation and co-creation, especially with companies, academic partners and public sector, Putu says. We can't wait to demonstrate selected vertical use cases together with our partners in the future. So here's perhaps one of the more boring ones. This is a good paragraph. Instead of all this business speak, Air Putty is a professor in dependable wireless communications. He has scientific, engineering and management experience in fields such as synchronization, interference suppression, coding, modulation and multiple access. He has been involved in cellular system designs since 3G, FP4 frames. The projects under his command have resulted in system designs for positioning, defense, radar systems and energy. Furthermore, case studies are being performed for media, sports, maritime and the future hospital. Oh, isn't that going to be a safe place? Currently, Putu serves as Vice Director of 6G Flagship Program. He also leads 5G test network research activities and the Strategic Research Area, which develops solutions for business verticals such as industry, health, energy and automotive. I assume verticals is lines that are going to make the money the quickest. 6G is the glue that binds everything together. 5G and 6G will bring about enormous and to a large extent yet unforeseen changes, applications and consequences in business, but they will also provide hugely exciting opportunities for researchers. And the University of Oulu is well poised to be at the forefront of the research. I like that one. I'll do that. Last year, the focus was on building the networks and basic technology, in a sense. Talking about 5G. I think this year we will see more reinforcements in the application arena. There are many projects running at 6G Flagship that will take advantage of 5G infrastructure. This year they will be pushing full speed ahead. Unity says, I am specifically expecting to see concrete examples of applications in logistics, pilot projects in ports and so on. New applications in the new frequencies, this is what we will see this year. Unity says that 6G will be a pervasive element in research, technology and society. It's the glue that binds a lot of things together. It has an impact of all the areas of ICT, naturally, but also on many other industries and businesses. 5G already will revolutionize many businesses, which will take advantage of the massive amounts of data from network sensors, which will number in the billions. The amount of data and analytics in 5G will bring huge opportunities to all the sciences and industries, not to mention 6G. So this is it's important to read this 6G stuff, because this is where they want to take you. And this whole pandemic that's gone on with the COVID, this is all gearing up for this restructuring of the economy and of business, dissolving independent companies, so they got nothing, and then a lot of the jobs will be taken by machines or automated. So big changes. Autonomous cars, AI, smart homes and connected appliances are standard fare when talking about 5G and beyond. What other things Unity expects will happen and become part of our everyday lives? Measuring, monitoring and real-time analytics of data will change healthcare and lead to earlier reliable diagnostics. Unity says, autonomous cars may be in some form, but I don't think we will have so-called level 5 self-driving cars in all circumstances and on all roads. But they will observe their surroundings, transfer information to other cars or some database that is accessible to all. I'm sure there will be things like commercial local bus routes that will be operated by a driverless vehicle with a predefined path. Then there is information security. All these things require not only low latencies and massive computational capacities, but networks and devices people can trust. That's the whole thing, Unity says. No one will use our wonderful networks and shiny devices if they can't trust them. I don't trust the people that are putting the technology out, let alone the technology itself. We've seen that any technology that has benevolent uses is also susceptible to malevolent uses. Yes, it is. So information security is extremely important, and that cannot be overemphasized. They say security. Somehow you will hand over the key to all of your data. Everything you do, everything you eat, everything you buy, everything you think. That's all going to be there securely in the hands of the government, basically. There's no security. It's a load of rubbish. Unity elaborates why the University of Oulu is an excellent place for exploring and studying future development of wireless networks. One of the key factors in this is the business ecosystem that exists in Oulu, he says. We wouldn't be able to do groundbreaking research without such close ties to industry. All engineering sciences are applied in the end. For Unity, university training has personal and global significance. I enjoy teaching, and that's one of the most rewarding aspects of my job, Unity says. I really want to encourage young people to come and study with us. That's how change comes about. Through people who study and graduate and then go out into the world. There are students from Oulu who are working in all the continents of the world, aside from Antarctica, so far. That just sounds like your parents when you're younger, doesn't it? If only you just passed your exams, the world is yours. And it's really not. Sorry to drop that bomb there. Life is what you make it, and it's hard work. That's the reality. Grades ain't gonna get at you. In fact, it would only hinder you, because it's indoctrination. You have to do real reading, real learning, and that's not in the academy books. I think today that's in researchers, people who can point you in the right direction. Next, we have VR headset developer Stephen Laval chose Oulu. Stephen Laval, a famed roboticist and pioneer in virtual reality VR perception technology, intends to bring many different disciplines together to work on VR and its applications in the era of next-generation networking. Laval, whose background includes creating 2 patents for Oculus before Facebook acquired the VR company, has set his and his family's roots firmly in Oulu. Now, why do Facebook want to acquire a VR company? Isn't that a good question? So he's got 2 patents for Oculus before Facebook acquired the VR company. They acquired them. We'll be checking that out. Now Laval runs a research group focusing on XR broadly. He is currently looking to build a consortium of top university researchers and companies around the XR, VR, AR ecosystem. I know VR is virtual reality. AR is augmented reality. What's XR? Brain freeze. Starting first in Finland and then extending to the European Union and beyond. It's funny how the idea of outside of Finland is the European Union, and then after that, that's beyond. But the next step is the EU. The team is an interdisciplinary mix of experts in virtual reality, robotics, and neuropsychology. Let's get that. It's nice to highlight things. We have state-of-the-art facilities, including a robot arm, human-sized 3D scanner, mobile robot, numerous VR headsets, including Varjo VR1, Laval says. We are also the only university in the world to have special robots from Opto Fidelity to measure VR headset latency, which are the standard in the top global companies. Lately, we have investigated ways to make telepresence more comfortable. Laval continues, we have just developed an algorithm that computes comfortable trajectories for a robot that carries a 360 camera, to which users can be interfaced via a VR headset. We have also recently discovered a plausibility paradox when we make VR users believe that they have been substantially reduced in size when immersed in a virtual world. He says, they have unrealistic expectations about how the physics of the world behaves at a small scale, which must be taken into account for healthcare, education, maintenance training, and microscale virtual prototyping. That's interesting, isn't it? A plausibility paradox. Laval has a clear vision for the 2030 wireless era, does he now? I envision a future in which people will feel co-present in spite of long distances between them. And the technology should be so seamless and accessible that people take it for granted. Oh dear. I thought you shouldn't take anything for granted. Next generation networks will play a key role in this. If successful, the pressure to physically travel long distances may be eased, resulting a healthier planet and improved well-being of its inhabitants. So if you read between the lines there, what they want to do is for you to be able to communicate with others so well, or experience other places so well, that you don't even have to travel there. You really do feel like you're there. So there's no point in travelling or physically seeing people, because it wants to be seamless and as though you're there when you're not. So you don't have to go anywhere. You just sit in your chair, put your VR headset on, and off you go to China or to Finland. Why not go there? Not sure how I feel about that. I don't like it, because part of the joy is the journey, isn't it? That's what travelling's about. Laval's journey to Oulu has involved a few turns. As an academic working in the United States, Laval originally wrote an influential book, Planning Algorithms, on robot motion planning, control theory, and artificial intelligence in 2006. Right. So that was an influential book. Let's read that then. The book was highly visible on the internet, largely because he was distributing it free of charge. The book eventually caught the attention of the founders of Oculus, makers of the Oculus Rift VR headset. Laval was already in Oulu on a sabbatical from the University of Illinois at the time, and started consulting for Oculus together with his wife. Now Laval and his wife Anna both work at the University of Oulu and have settled in well. I love it here. I am particularly grateful for the environment maintained by Professor Timo Ojala, who directs our ubiquitous computing centre and co-leads my research group. Due to his efforts, I have been able to focus heavily on the actual scientific work and innovative teaching. Oulu has also been a perfect environment for me and my family. There's plenty to do, and I enjoy reaching it all by my bicycle, especially in winter. You see, he enjoys going on his bicycle, especially in winter, but he's advocating a world where you don't need to do that. You just get on, a bike, I suppose you'd need one, and put your VR headset on. Why didn't you just do that, mate? I bet some of these people, they don't really get the world that this is being taken into. Not really. They're working for it. They're not really assessing the implications it's going to have on mankind. So this is about Laval. In May 2019, Professor Stephen Laval received the Milestone Award from the IEEE International Conference on Robotics and Automation, the leading interdisciplinary conference on robotics. This was the first time ICRA announced the award, which was granted for the most impactful conference paper among around 3,000, published between 1997 and 2001, looking back at the actual impact a paper has had, in this case over 20 years. The paper Randomized Kinodynamic Planning introduced the rapidly exploring random tree algorithm. This does sound interesting. Has been widely cited in robotics, video games, computer graphics, control systems, verification, and art. RRTs were developed by Stephen Laval and James Kuffner. Laval is now a professor at the University of Oulu, Finland, and Kuffner works in Toyota Research Institute, Japan. I was quite surprised and felt deeply honoured that our community recognised this work, which I remember was pure fun at the time. So that's pretty good, actually. We'll can I make that more obvious? A little bit. So there he is, Mr. Laval. Take a good look at him. He's obviously been very influential. Now, fixing flaws of 5G. Let's see what the flaws of 5G are in their eyes. Professor Tariq Taleb, I assume this is him. Let's take a look at this guy. It might not be. Doesn't actually say his name. Might just be a nice looking man. Professor Tariq Taleb is all about networks. He has been involved with 6G Flagship from the start and has a key role in bridging the research collaboration between Aalto University and University of Oulu. So whenever you get a university, they usually have their own website with their own papers and everything they've done catalogued. So it's definitely worth just keeping the universities in your head, which ones are putting out research. Taleb's focus in research is relevant to networking, which is something that he feels very passionate about. For instance, he doesn't think 5G will deliver on all the expectations we have laid upon it, at least not in the immediate future. We are expecting services which will require ultra-low latency and very high reliability, Taleb says. 5G in the next 2 to 3 years will not be able to support the things we need, things like drones beyond line of sight or self-driving vehicles. Yeah, because you need to chop down all the trees in the world to be able to have that. Self-driving vehicles and drones everywhere. It doesn't really work with nature. Let's not forget that. This will not happen because of regulation and because the technology is not there yet, and because of public opposition. Take self-driving cars. While we are being told that any day now fleets of automated cars will roll out and everyone can just sit in the back seat sipping coffee while getting to work safely and on time, Taleb says we should probably not hold our breath just yet. Well, I'm glad about that. You need connectivity, he says. Many car manufacturers say that decisions like braking or continuing to move have to be taken locally by the car. Still, you need someone with a view of the situation as a whole, and you need connectivity for that. We are talking about services that are possibly life-threatening, and we need to have very short latency and very high reliability for those to work safely. I think the only way you can achieve that is a high radiation environment. If you're doing gigahertz, you need the whole spectrum, don't you? Terahertz, gigahertz, megahertz, the whole lot. And once we have self-driving cars and human drivers are made obsolete, what will the passengers in these cars do? Well, I'm sure you'll put them in a straitjacket. They will obviously be consuming something. Yeah, the devices, yeah. They will obviously be consuming something. They'll be working, they'll be watching movies and TV shows, they'll be playing games and so on. So the car would need lots of data for situational intelligence. Yeah, I couldn't imagine anything worse, actually. Getting in a driverless car on a smart motorway and actually using wireless devices with a car of people also using wireless devices. I'd be surprised if you make it through one journey with the amount of radiation that would be around. It'd be a very unhealthy lifestyle. So the car, you need lots of intelligence. Where are pedestrians? What's the speed limit? Where's congestion? Should I brake, etc.? At the same time, the vehicle may become a source of data, streaming videos, pictures, all kinds of data, and the passenger will be watching a movie, because that's all we do. Therefore, the car will consume lots and lots of downloaded data, and also contribute large amounts of upload data. This is one car. Now multiply that with the millions and millions of cars around the world. Yes. See, the way they think about it is just an engineering problem which needs a solution. They don't care about the health, people. It's not even factored. While the research is ongoing, Taleb says that he and the 6G team in Ulu are busy making noise about the 6G flagship, cutting-edge research, teleportation. What? Teleportation? That's surprising. Science fiction becoming science fact. This is all happening at 6G flagship with its cross-university and cross-industry approach to the next generation of telecommunication. Well, that's going to be fun, isn't it? Teleportation. We are raising awareness on 6G and having brainstorming sessions in different events, Taleb says. Things are in good swing, and now we really need great talent who can do cutting-edge research. They're recruiting, guys. Caring of spectrum sharing. Marja Matin Miko Blue lives and breathes spectrum management. She sounds really fun. She realized very early on that wireless communications researchers must make assumptions on spectrum use, but very few are aware of the reality of spectrum management. This is where Marja comes in. So she decided to bridge the gap between research and real life, which led her to complete not only one, but two doctoral theses in parallel with her contributions to spectrum regulation. For Martin Miko Blue, the complexity of spectrum use is visible in latest developments. Contentious 5G spectrum debates have resulted in divergent regulation between countries in terms of who gets to deploy 5G networks, Martin Miko Blue says. For example, the 3.5 GHz band awards and rules differ not only globally, but even from one European country to another. At the same time, the process lacks transparency. One important group of people pretty much omitted in the 5G discussions are those living in the countryside. Martin Miko Blue says, They will not benefit from 5G networks if not accessible to them. Have you asked them if they want it? However, with the adoption of 5G, local licensing is starting to become a reality, which allows different stakeholders to deploy their own 5G networks in specific premises. When we started to talk about local spectrum licensing and operator models 5 years ago, the opposition was very strong, she says. During the last few months, local licensing has become possible in several countries, which promotes innovative location-specific solutions, for instance in factories and ports. They love putting it in ports, don't they? In 10 years from now, Martin Miko Blue would like to see more flexibility and less confrontation. We should realise that in the societal level it is not sustainable to let the spectrum use continue to be inefficient. Martin Miko Blue says, valuable spectrum is largely underutilised because of the way it is allocated. Existing spectrum users should stop selfishly defending their rights, and spectrum sharing should be the new norm in 2030. This is interesting because you've got most of the frequency spectrum which is licensed and somehow owned by people, and they give permission for it to be used. And as she says here, existing spectrum users selfishly defending their rights and not sharing their spectrum. So, greedy, centralized power. I wonder who's doing that. Greedy, centralized power. FCC, and the umbrella bodies around there. There's loads of them. UN will be involved. All of these guys. They're all linked together. And especially in Lena Pugh's Notice of Liability, you'll see lots of companies which seem very separate, but they're all linked. And it's all to do with the spectrum. It's funny how she's admitting that there's confrontation as well. We will not share our spectrum. Martin Miko Blue stresses that sustainability in all forms should be taken seriously. It is imperative to perceive spectrum as a natural resource, which must be managed and used in a sustainable manner. In line with this approach, Martin Miko Blue initiated the development of a white paper on the connection between 6G and United Nations. What did I just say? UN. They'll be involved, definitely. So we've got the development of a white paper on the connection between 6G and United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, UN SDGs. They're going to be champions of these in this. The outcome of the expert group will be published in spring 2020. There we go. We're going to be reading that white paper without a doubt. Efficient use of spectrum is a major design criteria in the development of any new wireless system, but efficient use of spectrum across wireless systems as a whole is not yet a design criteria taken seriously at the societal level. She says the development and deployment of new wireless systems should not be postponed by incumbent technology, claiming overstated protection needs. Her strong message on spectrum management relies on 15 years of solid multidisciplinary research and wide international collaboration with industry and regulators. I guess you can call it a passion, Martin Miko Blue concludes. At least it's a topic I discuss every day at home with my husband, whom I brought home from an ITU meeting. Imagine hearing that every single day, talking about spectrum sharing. Martin Miko Blue, there she is. She's going to come to you at the dinner table and talk about spectrum sharing every single day. She's the research coordinator of 6G Flagship. She has 2 doctoral degrees in telecommunications engineering and in industrial engineering and management. The theses focus on cognitive radio techniques and stakeholder analysis for spectrum sharing. She was first absorbed into spectrum management in 2004 in EU Project Winner. EU. Matimako Blue worked in close collaboration with industry and regulators on mobile communication spectrum requirements for the World Radio Communication Conference in 2007 at the International Telecommunication Union, the ITU. Since then, she has worked on cognitive radio systems and chaired those studies at the ITU, led the development of Finnish license shared access field trials, introduced stakeholder analysis into spectrum management research, and developed local 5G licensing and alternative operator models. And you can follow her on Twitter at Blue Marja. I don't really use Twitter, sorry. Towards wirelessly powered IoT. During these last 2 years, Assistant Professor Hurley Elves has been building the machine-type wireless communications MTC team working towards the 6G flagship vision of near-instant unlimited connectivity. Under the umbrella of MTC lies 2 key components: critical and massive MTC. The near-instant aspect relates to critical MTC, where we foresee extremely reliable, ultra-low latency connectivity, Alves says. Unlimited, on the other hand, relates to massive MTC that aims to bring connectivity to millions of devices serving a wide range of different applications. Alves says he funds the novelty and rapidly evolution. That doesn't sound right, does it? Alves says he finds the novelty and the rapid evolution of MTC both fascinating and extremely challenging. Our research focuses primarily on the physical layer, but MTC provides a new perspective on wireless communication design in all areas, from PYH layer all the way up to services and applications, business models, and the whole value chain, he says. The team seeks elegant mathematical and algorithmic solutions for several open problems in MTC. Alves gives a few examples. In the traffic monitoring case, the group focuses on random access, user identification, and resource management of a massive number of users. Since we don't know when the device will be active, its transmission might collide with the transmissions of other users, which causes throughput and reliability degradation besides delay, he says. We are tackling this problem by resorting to compressive sensing and probabilistic machine learning. Another example relates to critical MTC and the operation of an industrial network by providing connectivity to autonomous guided vehicles. We are addressing this issue via diversity in many levels, Alf says. For instance, the controller and the vehicle may have several antennas, spatial diversity. There might be other controllers with the same factory floor that can coordinate their transmissions, operation, and multi-connectivity. These controllers and vehicles might have other wireless radio interfaces, 3G, 4G, 5G radios, that can be exploited as well to send redundant information, interface diversity. All these different diversity solutions build up to meet the requirements, and what we seek then are mathematical and algorithmic solutions that efficiently combine all these different diversity solutions. It's all about solutions, guys. Thinking about sustainable IoT networks, one of the doctoral students in the team, Onel Lopez, is going to defend his doctoral thesis shortly. Is that what you have to do? Defend them? Lopez proposes a novel concept of channel state information, free massive wireless energy transfer, which allows powering wirelessly a large number of battery-constrained devices. The impact of wirelessly powered devices could transform the increasingly IoT-supported smart cities, agriculture, transportation, and logistics, to name a few. That's quite important. Conventional CSI-based solutions require immense overhead, which leads to wastage of resources, cumbersome coordination and scheduling, Lopez says. The proposed CSI-free solutions alleviate those issues, and even without considering the energy resources required for CSI acquisition, the gains from CSI-based solutions decrease quickly as the number of power devices increases. Distributed CSI-free strategies are also advantageous when we widen the energy coverage region, even when we impose high reliability on the energy transfer or increase the line-of-sight component as the network densifies. Our target is to demonstrate some of the novel MTC concepts in a vertical application, such as Industry 4, using our 5G test network, Alf says. We are currently looking for environment to start making firstly channel characterization and then system design with suitable diversity methods to obtain required reliability targets. We expect to have first results out in spring 2021. But before that, have a look at Onel Lopez's dissertation, which is coming out in April 2020. It will be openly available in Ultica, the University of Ulu repository. I just want to actually make sure I get that repository. What? Why is that so difficult? Okay. Solid state 3D range imager technology in full operation. Professor Juha Kostamavara's research group faces unique challenges daily as it strives for meaningful results in its research field of multidisciplinary character. How vague is this stuff, you know? What does that even mean? Quite seldom, deep knowledge on devices, microelectronics, photonics and laser ranging can be simultaneously found within a single research group, Kostamavara notes. We want to develop a miniaturized, matchbox size, low power and low cost solid state sensor technology which can produce 2D line profiles or 3D range images about the environment of the sensor, depending on the needs of the particular application, Kostamavara says. The need for these kinds of sensors is increasing rapidly in many application fields. Example, in vehicular applications, robotics, security, and many other fields. On the other hand, in spite of very active research both in academia and industries, convincing solid state without mechanically moving parts demonstrators are still largely missing. Thus, this task has turned out to be a very challenging one, Kostamavara says. On the other hand, our approach seems to have great potential for generic solution for this field. The group aims at end-to-end solution based on innovative building blocks. One part of our work is the development of novel optoelectronic devices, for example laser diodes, capable of producing high-energy, impulse-like optical pulses, which are essential in our range images, Kostamavara says. Another important part of the work is the development of CMOS integrated circuits. No idea what that is, which include on the same circuit die optical detector arrays, which are capable of detecting simultaneously single photon events and also the electronics to record their time position with respect to the emitted laser pulse. In addition, we are developing prototypes to demonstrate the developed system architectures in real-world applications, together with our research partners. The most potential application areas for the developed technology are driver assistance systems, even driverless cars, and especially the control and guidance of machines, autonomous machines, example in civil engineering, farming and forestry. The main performance evaluation criteria arise from the anticipated applications, example measurement range, spatial resolution, measurement rate and precision. On top of these technological parameters, the cost of the technology, power consumption and size are important system parameters, especially in mass production. Costamavara refers to the recently ended 6-year Centre of Excellence programme on laser scanning research, in which his group participated. Within this programme, we proposed to develop new kind of single photon detection based 2D and 3D laser range imaging technologies. As a result of the activity, we were able to develop these technologies starting from scratch up to the point of demonstrating fully operating 2D and 3D range imager prototypes. So, new kinds of single photon detection. The group's long-term work on laser scanning research resulted both in technical results and publications in the leading journals of the field, including JSSC. Another important outcome of the long-term research activity was the education of several doctoral students. They have trained themselves into the important fields of photonics and microelectronics and are spreading their knowledge into industries already now. One of the specific design challenges Costamavara's group tackles is the development of a specific type of block-based laser illuminator technology, enabling the considerable improvement of the range, imaging, measurement, speed. New industrial activities utilizing the proposed ideas and developments are most welcome. Our role in this research roadmap is to develop the basic technologies which pave the way for further R&D in industries, Costamavara says. We hope that our technology finds its way to industrial R&D and eventually to applications. Next. Reliable body-centric communications and sensing. 6G Flagship's Wireless Medical Communications Research Team, WIMEC, focuses on realizing a vision of future healthcare services, which are enabled by the use of the latest wireless technology. The team pursues essentially 3 lines of research: wireless body area networks, full chain of data from transfer from measurements to patient's electronic health record, and novel, secure solutions for care facilities. Particularly concerned about wireless body area networks. Oh dear. There we go, W-band, I'll call it W-band, is a collection of small-sized, low-power wireless sensors with communications capability, which are employed for monitoring human body functions and vital signs as well as the surrounding environment. W-band communication links can be divided into off-body, on-body and in-body, including both in-on and in-in communications, which are all explored in the medical ICT team. Currently, we put more and more focus on in-body communications in our research, which is an exciting task as the impact of different issues in the body needs to be taken into account, says Professor Jari Lenati, who leads the team. Going towards 6G, we aim to solve challenges related to serving a multitude of links simultaneously. Because W-band communications in its regular use for off-body and on-body communications can already be implemented with current technologies. However, the in-body link is largely an unexplored area and therefore highly inviting as a research area. More challenges will arise from interoperability between systems, as all the technologies should work seamlessly in a dense area populated by hundreds or even thousands of small medical and other IoT devices. Yes. The team also explores the whole chain from body-centric information transfer to electronic health record, which requires the utilization and mastering the existing solutions. Example LoRa, NB-IoT and Bluetooth Low Energy, and their novel usage, taking into account the demands of healthcare data management. We explore safe and highly reliable solutions for measuring human vital signs and delivering health data outside of hospitals and other care institutes, Lenati says. The ultimate goal is to provide remote healthcare services also to people who are living in rural areas, far away from health service providers. To succeed in this, we focus on diverse, reliable communications technologies, which can then be utilized according to the specific needs and available services in each particular area. One of the most promising secure solutions for hospitals that the team is currently exploring is the utilization of visible light communications for certain functions. You get a highlight. Possible use cases include delivery of confidential health information with high security and secrecy levels. Lenati says, of course, VLC limits its use to a single room, which makes the technology resistant for eavesdropping. We are also exploring the possibilities to utilize contactless sensing approaches to detect various... Wow, I got attacked by a yawn. Vital signs such as respiratory or heart rates using different radio or VLC based measurement methods. You can see this guy, have a little look at him. He is doing WBAN, wireless body area network stuff. The team is now leading an EU funded research and innovation staff exchange project, MSCA rover ID 872752, which we're definitely going to look at, which aims at creating a novel system architecture for a complete, dependable end-to-end data transmission chain. The system architecture is a heterogeneous communication system with imaging and localization capabilities, which can be used outside the hospital, in homes and remote areas. Consortium members, both from academia and industry, work on 4 continents, complementing nicely each other's expertise areas from ultra-wideband microwave imaging, localization and diagnostics to business, Lenati states. So we plan to demonstrate the rover architecture during the project lifetime by the end of 2023. So that'd be interesting. MSCA rover, novel system architecture for complete, dependable end-to-end data transmission chain. But this is the important point, that it's going to be used outside the hospital. I don't know what it is. We'll look at that eventually. The YMEC team has long been an active contributor to standardization, starting from IEEE 802.15.6 and IEEE 802.15.4 related activities. Our current and future contribution to ETSI, TC, SmartBand, PHY and MAC standards is a natural continuation. So many acronyms. Some of the results from WBAN MAC research have been patented and have also included in the ETSI SmartBand standard, which is a Smart Body Area Network, I think that means, which is a European version of the Smart Body Area Network standard. Some of the results have been patented and included in the SmartBand standard. Right. SmartBand. Sounds good, doesn't it? The team continuously seeks new partnerships and development opportunities in the sector of e-health. We are very excited to observe how our inventions, including especially in the current and upcoming standards such as ETSI SmartBand, will be implemented in real system and products during the following years, Lenati says. So that was all about reliable body-centric communications and sensing, wireless body area networks and smart body area networks. Now we have secure light-based communications through biological tissues. this will be interesting. Visible light communications and optical communications overall caught Professor Marcos Katz's interests when he and his team first demonstrated in 2017 a reconfigurable hybrid wireless network exploiting VLC and radio technologies. The network seamlessly switched from radio to optical or vice versa according to the condition of the channels, context information, local policies and others. VLC is a great complementary technology to radio, Katz says. Its unique advantages include high security and privacy, no electromagnetic compatibility issues, support for high data rates, all key characteristics needed for 6G. These features come in handy in his latest research challenge, Communications Through Biological Tissues. Funny how it is, see what I mean? It's a challenge. I do find it interesting. The network seamlessly switched from radio to optical or vice versa according to the condition of the channels. Just highlight this, and it's going to be visible light communications. It's going to be a complementary technology to radio. Well, that's quite cool. Katz's team has recently demonstrated how light can be used to convey data to and from in-body devices such as implants. We are using near-infrared light to transmit data across biological tissues, Katz says. At these wavelengths, light propagation inside via tissues is more favourable, though transmitting data through biotissues is very challenging. I bet it is. With the testbed, the team can utilize different types of parameters such as modulation schemes and transmit power. We have realized all experiments with artificially manufactured optical phantoms as well as real bones and samples of fresh meat, Katz says. The optical phantoms used in the experiments have been developed here at the University of Oulu. Currently, there are no plans for in vivo measurements, but the team complies strictly with regulations defining the maximum allowed light power per square millimetre in human tissue. So I don't know what the regulations that define the maximum allowed light power per square millimetre in human tissue. So that's something we'll have to check out, because at the moment it's all about the electromagnetic radiation and their regulations by ICNIRP and FCC being 10 million microwatts per meter squared, so that there's no more than 1 degree of thermal tissue heating. But then you have 3 different other medical bodies, Austrian medical institutes, Building Biology and Bioinitiative, and they say 3 to 6 microwatts per meter squared, not 10 million. Not heard of the maximum allowed light power per square millimeter in human tissue. So that should be really interesting. With the test bed, you can utilize different types of parameters, modulations schemes and transmit power. So that's what they're all testing at the moment, and how it goes through the body. So all that's really important. Recently, some authors have proposed the use of light for very short links in the range of a few millimeters, for instance for communications with devices under the skin. We have demonstrated through experiments that we can increase the range considerably to several centimeters, allowing communications with deeply implanted devices as well as between in-body devices, Katz says. He foresees that direct communication between implanted devices and out-body devices is also possible, even when these nodes are meters away from the body. So, you see, this is all going to connect later down the line. You've got reliable body-centric communication sensing, that's wireless body area networks, smart body area networks. Some of them are going to be skin deep, Some of them are going to go deeper, these implants. And then we're going to be looking at visible light communications, working with electromagnetic frequencies, which is going to communicate between all of the devices and obviously the grid. So continuing on, while initial results show data speeds of tens of kilobytes per second, so it's very small at the moment, the use of multi-source receiver structures such as MIMO and advanced modulation schemes can increase the speed considerably. It is also possible to use pulsed communications to increase communication range in the tissue. Light has also the major benefit that it can be employed without concerns on radio frequency exposure and privacy, Katz says. Previously, radio communications have mostly been used to transfer information to implanted devices. Third parties or malicious users can, in principle, jam communication links, eavesdrop on signals, and seed devices. Now you see, when they're talking about all of this before, ultra secure, they even had a hacking contest, and this guy's saying third parties or malicious users can in principle jam communication links, eavesdrop on signals, and seed devices. So you see how you've been told one story on one hand, and then the truth on the other hand, that it's not really that safe at all. Any wireless going through the air is easily hackable. Recent research also shows that commercial pacemaker and defibrillators can be hacked, which has eventually led to massive recalls of devices. Light-based communications, on the other hand, is local, which practically prevents remote hacking attempts. The team is continuously improving the measurement setup. Upcoming capabilities include a precise temperature control of the samples. We plan to continue extensive measurements to be able to characterize biological tissues as a medium for wireless communications, Katz says. Based on the results, we will be able to develop channel models and design transmitters and receivers optimized to the channel. We also plan to compare radio and optical communications in biotissues. I mean, if it's safer, I'm all for it. I don't mind safe technology. But pulse modulating electromagnetic fields through the air, that's just not safe. Katz has a clear long-term goal. In the future, we'll be able to carry out key medical ICT functions such as diagnostics, treatment, wireless communication, activation, inhibition, and monitoring of cell activities and others by exploiting a unique and highly secure light-based system. Once we understand the biotissues as the transmission medium, we can design a full communication chain matched to it. So they're just working out how to get data through tissue. Again, read between the lines, see what they're actually trying to do. Okay. Now, this is a serious chap. Look at him. 6G, beyond connectivity. Professor of Practice Kari Lepinen is a pioneer in exploring complex systems. In the 1990s, he pursued a career in radio astronomy, and in 2000s, he was in charge of Nokia's 4G research program. Now, Lepinen works on autonomous wireless systems in 6G Flagship. The definition is pretty broad, but basically, the idea is to look at how wireless networks enable the technologies of the future, like robotics, Lepinen says. These include 3D mapping, positioning, sensing, low latency connection to the cloud, possible edge computing. All of these are needed by robots that need to work in a given environment. Lebanon converses easily about immersive experiences, virtual, augmented, or mixed reality solutions, and their applications. The expectation is that 6G will bring about unforeseen amounts of data production and consumption, and with it issues like data ownership and privacy. Privacy concerns are absolutely among the biggest discussion points in 6G. Lebanon says, who controls the data, what is shared, and how? On the other hand, we are creating local data marketplaces. On one hand, security and privacy is really important, but on the other hand, we're creating data marketplaces so you can sell it. Somebody is producing data through their radio device locally, someone else wants to access it, and so we have created supply and demand. So it's really not about privacy. Really not. It's about we've created a whole marketplace to sell your data. That's what they're telling you. Real-time environmental mapping in 6G with near-instant unlimited wireless connectivity is also part of 6G Flagship's vision. In terahertz frequencies, which is the 6G expectation, it is possible to construct a radio eye that sees in radio frequencies, Lebanon says. This eye is a cluster of antennas consisting of thousands of antenna elements and is still the size of a matchbox. This eye can see things very accurately if it functions as a radar. It can see things in 3D and map the environment. In traffic, it could spot a cat running for the street from around the corner. And I wonder where they're going to put those eyes. In the robot police, maybe? It feels weird. I feel excited, but it feels quite scary as well at the same time. Also, in the terahertz region, one can build spectrum or multispectral sensing systems, which can be used in, say, mines or other industries, and monitor if there are any toxic gases or other compounds released accidentally, Lebanon says. Oh good, an actual use. It is easy to see dystopian outcomes when pondering the future of telecommunications, but Lebanon points out that the key performance indicators, there we go again, in 6G are not just technological and economical as they have tended to be in previous generations. Really? Please convince me. Now we are talking about things like privacy and transparency and environmental impact. The United Nations 17 Sustainable Development Goals, Lebanon says, it's not just about how many bits we can run per second or how much it costs to build a square mile of coverage. People who develop communication systems are generally concerned about human repercussions and global development. Bringing these KPIs in at the start is a great way to build the future. That was a nice sandwich, wasn't it? It gave you the police eye there and told you he really cares about your privacy, but then he's created a whole supply and demand marketplace to be able to sell all of your data. But he says, it's easy to see a dystopian world, but it's not going to be like that because we're working with the UN Sustainable Development Goals. So it's all going to be fine because we really care about you. Don't believe it for a second. Here we go. Trustworthy mirror worlds. Ironically, not looking the same. Is that a message? Yes. 6G is about systemic disruption. What does that even mean? Why would you say that? Which is why it is vital to look at the future of telecommunications from a variety of multidisciplinary perspectives, says Seppo Jirula, Professor of Practice, working in mobile telecommunications from 1G all the way to 6G, Wow, he's one of the long dogs. Means that he has quite the expertise. Right now, Yurjula holds a position as a principal engineer at Nokia and a part-time professorship in techno-economics of future wireless communication services and networks at the University of Oulu. So from 1G all the way to 6G, this guy. I've always been interested in research, going deeper into things and creating visions of the future, Yurula says. As the pace of business is becoming faster and faster, it is really crucial to make time for a longer term perspective. And this is exactly what the 6G flagship is providing. Well-founded, thorough research, combined with the practicalities and realities of business. Yurula describes his lot in 6G research as looking at three things: disruptions in technology, development of business models, and regulation and policy. In my career, I've learned that innovation happens when different disciplines and domains overlap. He says, you're not looking at technology as just technology, but you're considering the environment, societal change, policies, sustainability, and so on. In other words, UN 2030. Yurula spends more time on the point of privacy and security. For the human user, it boils down to two questions. Who can I trust, and what can I trust? Does it really? I just don't want my data out there. I don't want it out there. It's about trust in human to human to machine, and machine to machine interactions. What are the checks and balances? Can I opt out? I hate this opting thing. This cookie, you know when you go and load a site and then a blanket comes over your screen and you can't read it anymore because you have to accept the cookies. And if you don't accept the cookies, you have to be diverted to another page to be able to opt out or reject the cookies. And you do that for every page you blooming see. I mean, what a waste of time. And I just got the feeling that it's making it harder and harder for you to be able to control your own data, because you have to do a lot of reading. And then it's just going to be, it's just ridiculous, this whole cookie thing. And opting out. How about stop mining data? There should just be a policy. Don't mine people's data. It should be an opt-in, not an opt-out. If you want your data to be used, then sign up to a data scheme. But no, they couldn't create this global mesh if they did that. He brings up the concept of mirror world, the digital representation of the physical and biological worlds. Here we go. Yurula thinks of mirror world as a larger concept than just creating digital twins of physical objects like the same size, shape, 3D images, properties, and so on. It's about documenting all the physical properties, but also including all the contextual and other data, the function, purpose, all the defining parameters. So not just what you think, but why you think. In a dressing room, you can have a digital twin to see how a piece of clothing would look on you. But if you add things like heartbeat, blood pressure, you're getting closer to a proper digital twin needed to take care of your health and well-being. They care so much. Mirror world is the ability to move in the digital world. Yurula specifies. One can have a fully virtual image of the engine room of an ocean cargo liner or an industrial production facility. This image can be used to design, optimize, and redesign complex systems before making the physical changes. I like that. That's good. All these digital twins are connected to create a real-time mirror world, and 6G is exactly that connectivity. I mean, in terms of design, I love that mirror world thing. Build having a really interactive interface of building something, or if you've already got something existing, you've got a mirror of it, and you make the changes, and you see the implementation of that, the consequences of those changes through the models. So that's pretty good. So here we have the big boys, the co-creators, Nokia, Keysight Technologies, and we'll be looking into these guys and what they're going to do and what they're doing, what they have done. Nokia first, especially its research unit, Nokia Bell Labs, has a long tradition of cooperation with the University of Oulu, one of the Nokia distinguished academic partners. 6G Flagship program forms an umbrella for current active research topics, such as 5G radio systems concept research, including massive MIMO algorithms, interference coordination methods, and evolutionary topics like operation on high millimeter wave spectrum and high accuracy positioning methods. And there's a lovely picture of a drone for you. Reaching higher frequencies, new algorithms, and pushing technology towards beyond 5G topics is only part of the cooperation. 6G Flagship has already proven to provide good opportunities also for practical experimentation of new technology. Example, how requirements of different vertical businesses are met with new technology. Various joint actions like EU project, 5G drones, or national 5G 7MA project provide excellent opportunities for Nokia to work together with academia and other industrial partners on vertical businesses. So that's really important. Various joint actions like EU project, 5G drones, or national 5G 7MA. We'll check those out at some point. We have integrated, in turn, has been a frame for bringing early versions of future evolution to industrial environment and analysing not only technology but also related business potential. For this purpose, 6G Flagship is providing open 5G test network where technology, prototypes and services can be tested in neutral environment before entering commercial networks. We have been happy with the cooperation. Next, Keysight Technologies, a provider of technology that enables the world's leading innovators to imagine, develop, and produce products and services that make our lives richer and full of potential. Joined the 6G Flagship program in August 2019 as a co-creator to advance wireless communications research beyond 5G. With the agreement, Keysight became a strategic collaborator in the area of test and measurement of RF millimeter wave and terahertz devices, circuits and systems. Keysight applies multi-domain industry, technology and application expertise to deliver cutting-edge solutions that shape our future. We're excited to join the 6G Flagship program as one of its founding members to begin groundbreaking 6G research, said Satish Dhanasekaran, Senior Vice President of Keysight and President of Keysight's Communications Solutions Group, according to Keysight's new release. The program signals the start of a new era of wireless technology that will push the boundaries of high speed and high bandwidth applications. As the only test and measurement provider invited to take part of the program, Keysight is showcasing the unique role we play in solving design challenges ahead of a technology wave. Keysight's trusted portfolio of integrated test, measurement, security and optimization solutions use common hardware and software platforms to accelerate development, manufacturing and deployment of technology critical in communications, automotive, energy, aerospace and defense. Keysight's early research capability, complemented by a wide range of software and hardware for design, simulation and validation, helps the 6G Flagship program accomplish its overarching goals. These include supporting the industry in finalizing the adoption of 5G across verticals, developing fundamental technologies needed to enable 6G, such as artificial intelligence and intelligent UX, and speeding digitalization in society. enable 6G such as artificial intelligence and intelligent UX. What's intelligent UX? Let's highlight that one. And now another, what do you call them? Co-creator. Another co-creator is InterDigital. InterDigital is a mobile and video technology research and development company. Joined 6G Flagship as a co-creator in September 2019, so it's very recently. InterDigital and University of Oulu are jointly exploring fundamental 6G technology, especially in relation to the impact of metamaterials-based intelligent services on disruptive smart radio protocols. Now that's pretty serious. The metamaterials, that's what they're going to start building houses with. They're going to be, instead of protecting houses from frequencies, they're going to be enabling houses to have certain frequencies pass through them and bounce off them. Metamaterials. Yeah, maybe it's for reflecting, so the path loss is reduced. So I have to highlight that InterDigital and University of Oulu are jointly exploring fundamental 6G technology, especially in relation to the impact of metamaterials-based intelligence services on disruptive smart radio protocols. They're also exploring experimental beyond 5G research pertaining to wireless AI fusion on InterDigital's virtualized RAN platform. All sounds pretty cool. Our membership in the 6G Flagship program naturally builds upon our long-standing commitment to advanced research in 5G and beyond, says Dr. Elaine Murad, Director of Engineering at InterDigital Europe. InterDigital is excited to explore the opportunities, technologies and use cases that will shape our wireless future, and do so alongside respected academic and industry leaders. InterDigital unites two main communication technologies, wireless communication and video communication, into one of the world's largest pure research, innovation and licensing companies. With more than 300 engineers around the world, our focus is on research and development with pervasive impact. Mobile technologies that underpin smartphones, networks and services via global standards, and video technologies that are the foundation for today's most popular products and services. InterDigital has licenses and strategic relationships with many of the world's leading technology companies, and our inventions help improve every product in the markets we participate in, from the most basic to the most advanced, to transform industries and improve the products and services that are part of our daily lives. So you got three main companies there: Nokia, old hands at this, Nokia, Keysight Technologies, and InterDigital. Now, doctoral theses. We are proud to announce that since May 2018, in total, 44 students have defended their thesis and graduated with a doctoral degree from research units contributing to 6G Flagship. Here are their names and doctoral thesis titles. I'm not going to try and pronounce these names because this is just going to be impossible. But sparse recovery algorithms for streaming and multi-dimensional signals. Learning-based predictive resource allocation for machine-type communications. Time gating technique for single photon detection based solid-state time of flight 3D range imager. A cellular automation environment for the complex system of speech. Advancing information privacy concerns evaluation in personal data intensive services. radio resource management in device-to-device and vehicle-to-vehicle communication in 5G networks and beyond, flexible duplexing and resource optimization in small cell networks, special applications and spectrum sharing with LSA, data hiding algorithms for healthcare applications, speeding up the settling of switched capacitor amplifier blocks in analog to digital converters, analyzing flexible demand in smart grids, combat durable spread spectrum data link for national military aviation, CUMO04, a microwave dielectric and thermochromic ceramic with ultra-low fabrication temperature. From data flow models to energy-efficient application-specific processors. Methods for assessment of autonomic nervous system activity from cardiorespiratory signals. On-device synthesis of customized carbon nanotube structures. MIMO detection and pre-coding architectures. Energy-efficient transmission strategies for multi-antenna systems. Wear IT, implications of mobile and wearable technologies to human attention and interruptibility. Integrated access backhaul for 5G wireless networks. MO03, PZ29 and TiO2 based ultra-low fabrication temperature glass ceramics for future microelectronic devices. Efficient resource management in multimedia Internet of Things. Enabling awareness in nursing homes with mobile health technologies. Got a little hat there. Isn't that nice? Human motion detection and gesture recognition using computer vision methods. Integrated CMOS receiver techniques for sub-NS based pulse time of flight laser range finding. Radio resource sharing with edge caching for multi-operator in large cellular networks. Playful appropriations of hybrid space, combining virtual and physical environments in urban pervasive games. Novel sensor and switch applications for flexible and stretchable electronic materials. Performance of MIMO and non-orthogonal transmission in lossy forwarding relay networks. Distributed compressed data gathering in wireless sensor networks. Stakeholder analysis for the development of sharing-based spectrum governance models for mobile communications. Lightweight authentication and key management of wireless sensor networks for Internet of Things. Traffic-aware resource allocation for multi-antenna OFDM systems. High-speed moving networks in future wireless systems. Detection algorithms and FPGA implementations for SC FDMA uplink receivers. Decentralized multi-antenna transceiver optimization for heterogeneous networks. Improving software-defined cognitive and secure networking. Low-power wireless communications in the Internet of Things, solutions and evaluations. Face presentation attack detection using texture analysis. Transceiver optimization for energy-efficient multi-antenna cellular networks. Radio channel modeling for 5G telecommunication system evaluation and over-the-air testing. Application-specific programmable processors for reconfigurable self-powered devices. Incentivizing user participation in cooperative content delivery for wireless networks. Plasmonic electrical and catalytic properties of one-dimensional copper nanowires, effect of native oxides. So all of these are openly available at http://Jultika, which is JULTIKA.ulu, which is OULU.fi. I think that's FI, yeah, as it's Finland. Okay, so now we have the 6G flagship in numbers. There's not actually that many people involved in all this at the moment. In 2019, 315 people from 56 nationalities in the staff. Publications, 838 peer-reviewed publications, journal and conference articles. 64% were international joint publications, 73% joint publications with collaborators, 11% joint publications with companies. Obviously there's crossover there. Collaboration, May 2018 to December 2019. 223 research projects with external funding, 96 new company collaborators, 75 companies investing in research portfolio. Doctoral degrees, 44 doctoral degrees, 113,852 doctoral thesis downloads. And that's from that link I just gave you. 6G white paper, September 2019 to February 2020, 100,403 6G white paper downloads. Because they released one major white paper, but now they're about to release 12 more. Yeah, that was it. Key drivers and research challenges for 6G ubiquitous wireless intelligence. And that's going to be read as well. Our 6G ecosystem is a versatile collaboration platform which gives access to next generation wireless technology development and helps in unlocking future opportunities. Becoming an academic, public or industrial partner in our 6G ecosystem means a deep insight to hottest differentiating technologies, solutions and opportunities in wireless, AI and IoT. The ecosystem continuously grows with ICT companies, public and academic partners and applied businesses, meaning more partnering, solution and differentiation opportunities. Each partner is unique, thus we offer our members tailored pathways to get maximal benefit from the ecosystem. Technology and ICT companies get a front row seat to co-develop tomorrow's solutions. Academic and research partners are taken to the frontiers of research with exciting use cases, technology exploration and unprecedented solutions. Non-technology companies can take advantage of very practical placement of new technologies in their offering through a large base of partners and interesting project opportunities. Public partners can enjoy deep and understandable insights on the transformation and how to benefit from it through high-impact pilots and testing of new solutions. Why to join the ecosystem? Leading 5G, 6G expertise at your service. Latest research outputs within easy reach. Access to 5G, 6G test network and joint trials. Support for 5G adoption. 5G, 6G for verticals. New ICT-enabled business models. And possibility for IPR transfer. So there are 3 membership levels for the ecosystem of 6G. Affiliate, information sharing, pioneer, project partners, and co-creator, strategic partners. The ecosystem work in practice, information events, expert support, hosted visits, innovation sessions, project creation, trials and demonstrations, and joint visibility. So you have the flagship ecosystem leader there, Jaakko Savola, and Mikko Rantakoko, flagship ecosystem coordinator. And now here's the final screen. Coming up 8th to the 13th of June 2020 in Oulu, Finland, the UBISS 2020. the 11th International UBI Summer School 2020. Later in the year, in 13th to 16th of September 2021, the following year rather, Finlandia Hall, Helsinki, Finland, the IEEE PIMRC 21, 6G Driving Sustainability. This is going to be a big one. IEEE, the 32nd Annual International Symposium on Personal, Indoor and Mobile Radio Communications. It's going to be massive. Third 6G Wireless Summit 2021 in conjunction with PIMRC 21. Yeah. So you've got a little summer school, and then you've got the big boys. IEEE PIMRC 21 and your third 6G Wireless Summit. So that's the 6G Flagship. University of Oulu in Finland. This was the 6G Waves Spring Magazine of 2020. I shall be reading a lot of things out to come. The white papers, the initial white paper, the ubiquitous 5G 1 and 6G, and these 12 ones. And there are so many links in here that we can go into. We can go into Keysight technologies, into digital, all those things. And I'll do a conclusion video of the 6G Waves one, just a nicely condensed one of all the highlighting that I've done and what I've learned from 6G Waves and how we can transfer this knowledge forward. Hope you enjoyed it. See you next time.